For 3,000 years, Earth had known nothing but peace. The United Earth Federation, UEF, stood as a beacon of hope, prosperity, and cooperation, not just for humans, but for other species across the galaxy. Human colonies had spread to distant planets, thriving in harmony with their neighbors. Technology advanced at an incredible rate, and conflicts that once plagued Earth had become nothing more than distant memories, whispered about in history books. The galaxy had come to respect the humans, admiring their ability to maintain peace despite the chaotic nature of the universe. Even the most powerful alien civilizations, with their warships and vast armies, turned to Earth for trade, diplomacy, and knowledge. Humans had earned their place in the galaxy, a place where they were no longer viewed as a dangerous, unpredictable species. However, the peace was not without its signs of change. For years, strange anomalies had been spotted at the edge of human space. Unusual energy readings, uncharted ships, and signals that seemed to originate from the farthest reaches of the galaxy. Earth's top scientists and military strategists had dismissed these occurrences, attributing them to natural cosmic phenomena or simple misunderstandings. After all, peace had lasted for millennia, and Earth had no reason to fear. But in the last few weeks, the signals grew stronger. Ships, unlike anything seen before, appeared on Earth's radar. At first, they were small, just a few blips, easily dismissed. But as more ships appeared, the fleet grew larger, more menacing. Earth's defenses, once focused entirely on protecting colonies from natural disasters and small-scale threats, were not prepared for what was coming. The UEF's highest-ranking officers and diplomats convened in secret meetings, trying to decode the mystery of the new alien presence. The ships were too advanced to be ignored, but no one could predict the true intentions of this strange force. The galaxy had been calm for so long. The people of Earth, confident in their peace, never imagined that one day their world would be threatened by the very thing they had worked so hard to avoid: war. The storm was coming, and no one could say if Earth was ready for it. The first true sighting of the Kairos came like a nightmare. A vast fleet appeared at the edge of Earth's outer colonies, their ships unlike anything human technology had ever encountered. They were massive, sleek, and terrifyingly powerful. Each ship radiated a deep red energy, casting an ominous glow as it drifted silently across the cold expanse of space. They weren't just scouts or explorers. They were a full-scale military force, and their arrival was a declaration of intent. The Kairos wasted no time. Their message arrived moments after their ships did, broadcasted across every communication channel on Earth. It was simple, chilling, and carried an unmistakable tone of superiority. We are the Kairos. Earth has been given the opportunity to submit to our rule. Surrender now, and your survival may be assured. Resist, and you will be obliterated. A silence gripped the United Earth Federation. For the first time in centuries, Earth was faced with a true existential threat. The UEF Council, leaders who had lived their entire lives under the shadow of peace, now found themselves in an unthinkable situation. What to do when war was declared by an unknown, far more advanced force? Admiral Nyra Drax, one of Earth's most respected military commanders, was the first to break the silence. She stood tall before the UEF Council, her face unwavering. "They may have the power to destroy us," she said, "but we are not the helpless, defenseless species they think we are. We have been waiting for a moment like this for thousands of years. We have our own weapons, our own strength. This is our time to show the galaxy who we really are." The rest of the council, though shaken, nodded in agreement. The Kairos had underestimated humanity's resilience, and Earth's military was far more advanced than anyone knew. It wasn't just the fear of destruction that fueled the humans' response. It was the refusal to bend to anyone, no matter how powerful. In the depths of Earth's underground military complexes, the preparation began. The Guardian Defense Satellites, a long secret program designed to protect Earth from any and all external threats, were activated. Earth's fleet, dormant for decades, was ready for combat. But this wasn't just any fleet. It was equipped with technology that no one, not even the Xiros, could have predicted. On Earth's surface, the mood was a mix of determination and nervous anticipation. Cities buzzed with activity as the entire population rallied behind their leaders. The news spread like wildfire, and everywhere, people were discussing the same thing. What would Earth do now? Across the stars, the Xiros waited, confident that their arrival would be met with fear and surrender. They had conquered countless worlds, reduced entire civilizations to ashes. Earth would be no different, they believed. Their ships were designed to instill terror, and their strategy was flawless, until they encountered humans. The question now was clear. Would Earth bend to the will of these invaders, or would they rise to defend their home, their freedom, and everything they had built? The Xiros waited for Earth's response, but the humans were not afraid. A battle was about to begin, and Earth's pride would not allow them to surrender. The galaxy was about to witness the unthinkable, a peaceful civilization that had lived without war for millennia, now preparing to fight for its survival. The Xiros didn't wait long. With their overwhelming numbers and superior weaponry, they launched their first offensive. They attacked Earth's outer colonies with a precision that spoke of their advanced technology. Entire cities on distant worlds were wiped out within hours, leaving nothing but charred remains and broken infrastructure. The Xiros believed they could crush Earth's spirit in one swift blow. But what the Xiros didn't account for was humanity's indomitable will. Back on Earth, the United Earth Federation was scrambling. The destruction of their colonies was a devastating blow, but it was not the end. Earth's military was still mobilizing, and its most advanced weapons were far from ready to reveal their true power. In the darkest corners of Earth's underground bunkers, the brightest minds had been working on weapons of mass destruction, ready for just this type of emergency. Admiral Naira Drax and her team analyzed the alien attack patterns. The Xiros had attacked swiftly and with force, but their ships were not invincible. They were vulnerable, especially when it came to long-range attacks. Earth's fleet had been dormant for centuries, but it was equipped with technology far beyond what the Xiros had seen before. It wasn't just the size of their fleet that made Earth a formidable opponent. It was the precision, the strategy, and the ingenuity of its people. Within hours, Earth's first wave of response ships was launched. They were smaller and more agile than the Xiros' enormous warships, designed to strike quickly and disappear before the enemy could retaliate. The UES warships, equipped with newly activated laser cannons and advanced missile systems, met the Xiros on the battlefield. The humans weren't playing for a swift victory. They were buying time to activate the true weapons they had been working on for decades. The first clash in deep space was brutal. Earth's fleet faced the Xiros head-on, but the Xiros' advanced shielding systems seemed impenetrable. Explosions lit up the void of space as Earth's ships took heavy fire. Yet the humans fought with unrelenting resolve. They weren't going to surrender. As the battle raged, Admiral Drax's flagship, the Sovereign, hovered at the edge of the conflict, awaiting the activation of Earth's most secret weapon, the Vigilance System. This weapon had been designed not just for defense, but as a response to any alien invasion. It had the power to disable enemy ships with a single strike, and it was about to be unleashed for the first time. The Vigilance System hummed to life. "Now," Drax ordered. In an instant, a pulse of energy shot out from the Sovereign, hitting one of the Xiros' massive warships. The ship's shields flickered and then collapsed, its engines shutting down as it became a floating target. Earth's warships took immediate advantage, launching a barrage of missiles that tore through the vulnerable hull of the ship. In moments, it was destroyed. The Xiros, taken aback by the sudden shift in the battle, tried to retaliate, but they had underestimated Earth's ingenuity. As Earth's fleet picked off more of their ships, the Xiros realized they had made a grave mistake. This was not a civilization that would submit easily. They had awakened something in Earth that no one had expected. a determination to survive and fight back at all costs. As Earth's fleet pressed on, more and more of the Xyros fleet began to retreat. The humans had struck their first blow, and it was a victory that none of the galaxy's observers could ignore. The war had begun, but the Xyros were not prepared for what they had unleashed. Earth had shown them that they were not a race to be feared. They were a race to be reckoned with. The galaxy had underestimated Earth, and now the Xyros would pay the price. After the devastating surprise strike, Earth's forces began to gain momentum. The Xyros had underestimated human resolve, and now they were learning just how formidable Earth's defenses were. However, the battle was far from over. The Xyros, despite their initial shock, were not quick to retreat. They were relentless, and their warships, while vulnerable in some ways, were still formidable. On Earth, the mood was a mixture of cautious optimism and intense focus. The victory over the Xyros warship was a powerful blow, but it was just the beginning. Admiral Drax, still commanding the flagship Sovereign, knew that Earth had only scratched the surface of the fight. The Xyros were more than just skilled warriors. They were also strategists with advanced tactics and relentless drive. It would take more than a single victory to drive them back. The UEF Council met in emergency sessions, analyzing the current situation. Earth's military had been in a defensive posture for too long, and now the time had come to take the offensive. Admiral Drax proposed a bold plan, a full-scale counteroffensive to push the Xyros fleet back beyond Earth's borders. But this wasn't just about pushing them away. It was about making the Xyros realize that humanity was not to be trifled with. The plan was risky. Earth's forces would need to divide their fleet into smaller, faster groups to strike at the Xyros' weak points. The Xyros had concentrated most of their power near Earth's outer colonies, but scattered across the galaxy, there were several Xyros outposts that could be vulnerable to surprise attacks. If Earth could take down these smaller installations, it would weaken the Xyros' command structure and cripple their ability to wage war. The operation was codenamed Operation Ironclad. The first phase of the operation was launched in secrecy, with Earth's elite fleets slipping through the Xyros' defense lines and attacking their smaller outposts. It was a terrifyingly effective strategy. As Earth's ships attacked, the Xyros scrambled to respond, but their overwhelming force at Earth's borders had already spread them thin. Earth's ships, equipped with stealth technology and high-powered weapons, wreaked havoc on the Xyros' lesser-defended sites. Meanwhile, the Xyros leadership was growing increasingly paranoid. Their initial overconfidence was beginning to waver as reports of Earth's unexpected strikes came flooding in. Earth was fighting back with a fury they hadn't anticipated, and it was only a matter of time before they would have to confront this new, relentless adversary head-on. The first real turning point came when Earth's vigilance system was used in the field again, this time on one of the Xyros' more heavily fortified stations. The pulse of energy tore through the Xyros' shields once more, giving Earth's ships the chance to destroy another massive vessel. With each blow, Earth's military strength grew more and more undeniable. As the tide began to shift in Earth's favor, the Xyros' once unshakable confidence started to erode. On the battlefield, the momentum had swung, and Earth's forces were proving that they weren't just defending their home. They were driving a relentless offensive that the Xyros couldn't stop. For the first time since the war began, the Xyros were on the defensive. They were no longer the attackers, but the ones scrambling to save face. It was a moment of unprecedented achievement for Earth, but Admiral Drax knew this was still just the beginning. The Xyros may have been pushed back, but they weren't finished yet. The next phase of the war was on the horizon, and Earth's victory would come at a heavy cost. The stakes had never been higher, and as Earth's fleet pressed forward, it became clear that this was not just a fight for survival, it was a fight for the future of humanity. Earth had shown the galaxy that they were not just peaceful, not just advanced. They were a force to be reckoned with. and that Tyros had only just begun to realize how true that was. As Earth's forces continued their relentless campaign across the galaxy, that Tyros began to understand the true extent of the threat they had provoked. What was initially perceived as a swift conquest had become a war they were struggling to control. Earth's fleet, despite being vastly outnumbered, had proven to be more than a match for the Tyros. With each attack, Earth's resolve strengthened, and the Tyros' once feared invincibility began to crumble. In the heart of the Tyros command fleet, the leaders convened in a desperate council. The greatest military minds of the Tyros species were frantically discussing their next move, trying to salvage what was left of their invasion force. Their heavy losses were mounting, and their supply chains were increasingly stretched thin. Earth's tactics, unpredictable, precise, and brutally effective, had caught the Tyros off guard at every turn. The Tyros had been forced into a position they had never been in before, defending their own territory. "We underestimated them," said Supreme Commander Thrix, the Tyros leader. His once calm demeanor had been replaced by frustration. "Their technology, their tactics, it's unlike anything we've encountered before." A fellow commander, Stalus, slammed his fist onto the table. "We must end this war now, or we risk losing everything. If they continue their campaign, they will destroy us all. We need to strike them down with everything we have left. No mercy." But Thrix, though visibly agitated, held his ground. "We can't defeat them using the same methods. We need to rethink our strategy. The humans fight with something we don't understand. Determination. But there must be a weakness. We'll find it." With no other viable options, the Tyros made a decision that would change the course of the war. They would go all in, launching their last remaining fleet into the heart of Earth's territory. Their plan was simple: force Earth's military to engage in a final decisive battle. But they had one advantage, one that Earth did not know about. The Tyros had developed a new weapon, one that could destroy entire fleets in seconds. It was their last chance, their final card to play. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Admiral Naira Drax knew that Tyros wouldn't give up easily. The message was clear. The war was far from over. Earth's victory was temporary at best. But Earth had already shown its strength. The resolve of the human race was unbreakable, and the ingenuity of Earth's engineers and scientists had brought weapons to life that were beyond the Tyros' understanding. Drax stood before her fleet, watching as Earth's ships readied for the most dangerous battle of the war. The humans knew they were facing the Tyros' final stand. They had to win now, or everything would be lost. "We're not just fighting for survival anymore," she said, her voice steady but filled with fire. "We're fighting to prove that humanity cannot, and will not, be broken. The Tyros want to destroy us, but we're going to show them exactly what we're made of." With the galaxy on the edge of destruction, Earth's fleet prepared for what would be their most dangerous confrontation yet. The Tyros, in their desperation, were coming with everything they had. Their ultimate weapon, capable of wiping out entire fleets in an instant, was on its way to Earth. But the humans weren't afraid. As the first shots were fired in what would become known as the Battle of the Final Dawn, Earth's fleet met the Tyros head-on, and the future of humanity hung in the balance. The outcome of this battle would determine not only the fate of Earth, but of the entire galaxy. The final conflict had begun, and Earth would show the Tyros that their greatest weapon was humanity itself. The stars trembled as Earth's fleet engaged the full might of the Tyros. The final battle had arrived. Both sides knew that this would be the deciding moment, the fight that would determine whether humanity would live or be wiped from the galaxy. The Tyros, in their desperation, unleashed their ultimate weapon, a colossal warship, the Oblivion. It was a ship unlike anything humanity had ever seen, its weapons capable of annihilating entire fleets in a single strike. The Tyros believed this would be the weapon to break Earth's resolve and win them the war. On board Earth's flagship, the Sovereign, Admiral Naira Drax observed the incoming storm. The Oblivion was a terrifying sight. It was massive, with a hull composed of a unique, nearly indestructible alloy, and its weapons were capable of destroying entire planets. The Exiros believed that this ship would give them the edge they needed to crush humanity's fleet in one fell swoop. "Admiral, we've intercepted their transmission," Lieutenant Corwin said, his voice tight with urgency. "They're preparing to fire the Annihilator Cannon. We only have moments before they strike." The Annihilator Cannon, a weapon capable of firing a concentrated beam of energy powerful enough to obliterate entire armadas, was Earth's worst nightmare. It would vaporize their fleet in a flash. "We won't get another chance," Drax replied, her eyes narrowing as she analyzed the incoming data. "We have to strike first, or we'll lose everything." The stakes were higher than ever. Earth's fleet, though battle-tested and resilient, had already taken heavy losses. The Sovereign and its fleet of warships had been in constant battle for days, but they still had one advantage that Exiros didn't account for: human ingenuity. The vigilance system had already proved effective, but in this final confrontation, they would need something more, something far more devastating. "Activate the Nova Pulse now," Admiral Drax ordered. The Nova Pulse was Earth's ultimate countermeasure, developed in secret and kept hidden for the day it would be needed. A weapon capable of disrupting energy shields and weapons systems across an entire fleet, the Nova Pulse would neutralize the Tyro's overwhelming firepower. If it worked, Earth would finally have a chance to win this battle. The Sovereign's engines roared to life as the crew prepared to unleash the Nova Pulse. The energy buildup in the ship's core was overwhelming. In moments, it was ready. The Oblivion loomed ever closer, its massive cannons primed and aimed at Earth's forces. The Tyros were confident, until Earth made its move. With a flash of blinding light, the Nova Pulse shot forward, cutting through the space between the two fleets. The wave of energy rippled out, hitting the Oblivion directly. The gigantic warship shuddered, its shields flickering and collapsing. The Exiros were caught off guard. Their greatest weapon had been neutralized in an instant, but the Oblivion wasn't finished. It fired its Annihilator Cannon, the immense energy beam roaring toward Earth's fleet. There was no time to react. Suddenly, the Sovereign's systems came to life, and Earth's remaining ships surged forward, shields up. The energy beam from the Annihilator Cannon hit the Sovereign head-on, but instead of disintegrating the flagship, the shields held. They were taking the full brunt of the attack, but the Sovereign wasn't done yet. With the last of its power, the vigilance system fired one final burst. The pulse hit the Oblivion, tearing through the Tyro's shield and disabling the mighty ship. A final explosion erupted from within the Oblivion as its core detonated, sending shockwaves through the battlefield. The Exiros were stunned. Their ultimate weapon had been destroyed, and Earth's fleet was still standing strong. But the battle wasn't over. The Exiros continued to fight fiercely, but their numbers were dwindling fast. Earth's fleet, using the momentum gained from their victory, pressed the attack. Admiral Drax watched as the Exiros, once a seemingly unstoppable force, began to retreat. Their ships, once invincible in the galaxy, now appeared vulnerable. The tide of the war had truly turned. But the victory came with a heavy cost. Earth had lost many ships and countless brave soldiers in the struggle. The battle had pushed humanity to its limits, but they had won. The Exiros had been broken, their most powerful weapon destroyed, and their confidence shattered. As the Tyros began to flee, Admiral Drax felt the weight of the moment settle on her shoulders. The galaxy would know that humanity was no longer just a young species to be dismissed or conquered. Earth had proven that it was a force to be reckoned with. The Exiros had come to destroy humanity, but instead they had awakened a power they could never defeat. With the Sovereign still intact, Earth's fleet had emerged victorious. But the war was not just about survival. It was about proving that humanity could overcome any challenge, no matter how insurmountable it seemed. And now, as the battle faded into the void of space, one thing was clear. Humanity had not only survived, they had triumphed. In the aftermath of the crushing defeat of the Kairos, the galaxy watched in awe as Earth's fleet emerged victorious from the ashes of war. The battle had been long, brutal, and costly, but the human race had proved itself capable of surviving against the most advanced military force the galaxy had ever known. The destruction of the Oblivion and the fall of the Kairos' vast empire sent shockwaves across the cosmos. For the first time, the once dominant species found themselves outclassed by the very humans they had underestimated. Earth, battered but unbroken, now stood as a symbol of resilience and power. The Galactic Council, once an organization that relegated humanity to the sidelines, was forced to recognize Earth's new role as a galactic superpower. In the wake of the war, the once fragmented human colonies began to unite under a single banner, the Earth Galactic Empire. Admiral Myra Drax stood in the war room aboard the Sovereign, gazing out at the stars. The fleet had returned home, victorious, but the real challenge was just beginning. The war had shifted the balance of power in the galaxy, and Earth had become the focal point of a new order. As the supreme leader of Earth's military forces, Drax knew that this victory was only the beginning of what was to come. "We've done it," Drax said, her voice steady but filled with pride. "We've proven that humanity is not just a species to be conquered. We are the future of this galaxy." Her advisor, General Callis, nodded in agreement. "But the Kairos are only one threat. Others will rise, and they will come for us, thinking that we are still weak. We must prepare for the next wave of challenges." Drax turned toward the large holographic map of the galaxy that flickered before her. It was clear. Earth's victory had sent ripples throughout the universe. Alien species that had once ignored humanity were now paying close attention. The power dynamics had shifted, and those who once sought to dominate Earth were now reconsidering their positions. "This isn't just about defense anymore," Drax said thoughtfully. "We need to expand. The galaxy is vast, and it's full of opportunities. If we want to secure our future, we must become the rulers of this galaxy. We cannot afford to be passive." The idea of expanding Earth's influence was met with mixed reactions. Some were wary of becoming imperialistic. Others feared the backlash from alien species who had long held the upper hand. But one thing was clear: Earth had the military power and technological advancements to forge its own destiny. The galaxy was no longer a hostile place for humanity. It was a place to conquer. The war had given humanity access to advanced technologies, many of which had once been thought impossible. With the Kairos' advanced weaponry now at their disposal, Earth's fleets were stronger than ever. The Nova Pulse and Vigilance system, two of Earth's most powerful weapons, had proven their worth. But it wasn't just the technology that had won the war. It was humanity's unwavering will, the determination to protect their home and their way of life, that had turned the tide. Drax knew that building an empire was no simple task. It would take years, maybe decades, to fully stabilize Earth's new position in the galaxy. But she was confident that humanity would rise to the challenge. They had done the impossible before. And now, with Earth's fleets stronger than ever, they would do it again. The galaxy, once a vast and intimidating expanse, now seemed smaller, more within reach. The humans who had once been the underdogs were now the rulers of their own destiny. Their strength was not just in their weapons, but in their unity, their courage, and their refusal to be defeated. As Earth began to establish its new empire, other species watched with cautious eyes. Some sought alliances with the rising human power, eager to share in their newfound strength. Others, like the Xenfor, a warrior race once feared throughout the galaxy, would undoubtedly plot their own strategies to undermine humanity's rise. But the Earth Empire was unyielding. It would not be cowed. It would not be defeated. And as Admiral Drax looked out at the stars once more, she knew one thing for certain. The future of the galaxy belonged to Earth, and Earth was ready to take it.